Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to crack open stories, ideas, research, and really find those core insights that matter. Today we're diving into Christina Lauren's novel, Love and Other Words. It's one that really resonates with a lot of people. Our source material is a pretty comprehensive critical review. And, well, our mission isn't just to tell you the plot summary. We want to actually unearth the clever narrative structure, the really profound themes, and just that raw emotional depth that makes this book stick with you. Okay, so let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about this one, I think, is even though it is a love story, a classic one in many ways, it really dissects these universal human things, like the raw pain of grief, which is huge here, and the complexities, the devastating complexities sometimes of communication, or maybe more often the lack of communication, right? The silence. Exactly. And just the enduring nature of love, how persistent it can be, almost painfully so sometimes. As we get into it, I think you're going to see some real aha moments pop up, especially around how just one misunderstanding, one moment of seeing things wrong can ripple out for years, decades even.
The first thing that really jumps out, maybe even before you get deep into the characters, is the structure. It's quite unique. It unfolds across these two timelines, simply called Then and Now. The Then chapters, they take us back to Macy and Elliot as kids, as teens, tracing that initial bond, while Now just throws us right into their adult lives when they meet again. And this isn't just like a cool writing trick, is it? It feels like Christina Lauren is really manipulating our understanding, our emotions deliberately. How does that actually work? How does it deepen things for the reader?
Well, it's quite brilliant, really, because it doesn't just show you how characters change over time. It kind of forces you almost viscerally to confront how these deep childhood patterns, and unresolved grief, how they absolutely dictate adult choices. So as you get these then memories sort of bleeding into the now desires and situations,
Right.
It creates this layered understanding, this revelation, and it makes Macy's journey feel not just relatable, but almost painfully authentic. It's a really powerful way to argue how our past literally shapes our ability to love, to be vulnerable, and it reveals it piece by agonizing piece sometimes.
Okay, so let's start back in that then timeline.
Yeah.
We meet Macy Sorensen. She's 10 years old, and she's just lost her mother to cancer. So understandably, she's grieving. She's very emotionally guarded. Her dad decides they need a change, a refuge maybe. So he moves them to this beachfront place near Healdsburg. And it's here, amidst all her quiet sadness, that her world starts to open up a bit.
Yeah, and that opening up really comes in the form of Elliot Petropoulos. He's the neighbor kid, youngest in a big, sort of loud, vibrant family. And crucially, he gets her love of books, that literary sensibility.
Ah, the book connection.
Right. Their first connection isn't some big dramatic thing. It's over books. It's over words. They even start this ritual, sharing their favorite words. So language itself becomes their emotional bridge. It's more than just friendship kicking off. It's the actual foundation of everything that follows, building this deep trust over weekends just spent reading together.
That ritual of words.
Yeah.
It really does become this quiet, almost secret love language between them, doesn't it? And it leads them from being these close childhood friends into, well, a tentative teenage romance. Macy's still dealing with the grief over her mom, obviously, so she's cautious. But she starts to open up, and Elliot gives her this really rare, unwavering emotional support. She resists the commitment, though. She's afraid maybe that making it official might break whatever special thing they have. But, well, feelings deepen. Intimacy follows.
And then we hit this pivotal moment, a real turning point. It's New Year's Eve. Elliot's had too much to drink. He impulsively calls Macy, and he proposes. Just like that.
Why?
Macy wants to talk face to face, naturally, so she hesitates on the phone. Elliot gets frustrated, hangs up, so she drives over to the party to find him, to talk properly.
Yeah.
And what she walks in on, it's devastating. She sees Elliot passed out, naked, with his friend Emma kind of over him.
Oh, no.
From Macy's perspective, seeing that, it's the ultimate betrayal. It confirms all her deepest fears about vulnerability, about trusting someone that much. It just shatters everything.
Yeah, let's let that sink in.
Yeah.
That image, what she thinks she saw.
Yeah.
Through the eyes of someone already so guarded, so hurt. And then the very next day, something completely unthinkable happens, just compounding that trauma.
Exactly. She's driving with her father, and his own grief, still raw from losing his wife. It just overwhelms him for a second. And in that instant, there's a car accident, a fatal one.
Her father dies.
Her father dies. So now you have this perceived betrayal from Elliot, immediately followed by the sudden, violent death of her only remaining parent. It's a double trauma that completely freezes her. It pushes her into this self-imposed emotional exile. She cuts off Elliot completely. No explanation.
Just gone.
Gone. Abandons the house they shared memories in. basically erases him and Elliot. He's left totally fractured by the loss of her father, which he doesn't even understand in connection to her disappearance yet, and by this complete misunderstanding, the silence. They both carry these huge scars rooted in that silence for the next decade. And this isn't just like a plot device. This is where the novel really starts digging into how unresolved grief and these unchecked assumptions, how they become self-imposed isolation. That's a key theme running through all of Macy's adult life.
A whole decade of silence. It's hard to even fathom. What does the book really tell us about the weight of that? The psychological burden of a wound that's never addressed, a secret you hold maybe even from yourself. And as we move into that now timeline, the big question is, how does Christina Lauren show us the hidden costs, the price of suppressing all that emotion, even when someone looks successful on the outside?
Oh, it's shown in really subtle, chilling ways. So fast forward 11 years, Macy's in her late 20s. She's a pediatric resident.
Successful career,
Right, professionally doing well, seems responsible. But emotionally, she's profoundly detached. She's engaged to this guy, Sean. He's older, financially stable. Their relationship is, well, it's practical, stable. But there's zero passion, no real deep connection there.
It's safe.
Exactly, safe. Her whole life is this rigid routine, like a fortress she's built to keep vulnerability out, to numb that grief she never dealt with. This safe life is a direct result of that trauma and that massive miscommunication years ago.
And then, bam! The narrative just throws them back together. She runs into Elliot, totally unexpectedly, at a coffee shop, first time 11 years. And it's not some gentle reunion, is it? It's like an explosion of everything she's buried. All those feelings, desire, regret, fear, they just flood back instantly. Her reaction is just this raw conflict.
Right.
Wanting to see him, but also desperately needing to run away. It perfectly mirrors that battle between her guarded present and her traumatic past.
Yeah, and the authors use these next few encounters, dinners, casual meetups, to really meticulously peel back the layers of Macy's emotional defenses. That chemistry they had, it's still there, undeniable. It reminds us and her of that powerful bond they shared. And we learn Elliot's working for a literacy nonprofit now, which is this beautiful echo of his childhood self.
Oh, that's perfect.
It is. Meanwhile, her fiancé, Sean, he's sort of in the background, but his presence just highlights how tepid her current relationship feels. And crucially, these little memory fragments from that New Year's Eve start coming back to Macy. She's forced to grapple with this immense guilt she feels, maybe for blaming Elliot, and just for the silence that's defined her life. She starts realizing, slowly, it's not just that she isn't over him, she isn't over what happened, or what she thought happened.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What happens when we just assume the worst? When we never actually seek out the full story. And the novel saves its biggest emotional punch, really, for Elliot's brother's wedding. That's where the secrets finally have to come out. Macy finally finds the strength to tell them her truth. Saw you with Emma. I assumed the worst. And then my father died. That combination just propelled her away.
And then Elliot shares his truth, his side of the story. He explains he was so incredibly drunk that night, he genuinely thought he was kissing Macy, not Emma.
Oh, the devastation.
It's just devastating irony. And to make the tragedy even deeper, he reveals he didn't even hear about her father's death until way, way later, long after she'd already vanished from his life. The reality of their shared but completely misunderstood tragedy just hits them both hard. That gap between intention and perception, it just slams home how one moment of miscommunication, amplified by grief and then sealed by silence, can literally reshape lives. Destinies even. And it's in that moment, finally hearing his side, understanding the context, that Macy's long-held grief finally breaks free. She cries, really cries, for her father and for the love she ran away from all those years ago.
And that catharsis, that mutual understanding, finally brings us to the resolution. It's raw, it's definitely a hard one, but it feels like real emotional closure. After they reconcile, Macy's finally able to be receptive to Elliot's love again. She has to break off her engagement with Sean.
Which is painful but necessary.
Absolutely. Necessary because she realizes her heart has only ever really belonged to Elliot. He was the one person who truly got her, right from the start.
And then there's that beautifully symbolic moment near the end. Elliot suggests they move in together, and he asks her for her favorite word, bringing back their old ritual.
Oh, I love that.
And she replies, "You."
Perfect.
It's perfect, right? Their whole connection started with words, with this unspoken love built through language. Now it comes full circle, but this time it's built on shared truth, on forgiveness, on a much deeper understanding.
So, having walked through their whole incredible story, Macy and Elliot's journey isn't just about getting a second chance at love, is it? It feels like a really profound exploration of some pretty universal truths. Let's maybe unpick some of those core themes, starting with grief. That shadow looms over everything Macy does.
Oh, absolutely central. Grief and healing. Macy experiences so much loss, layer upon layer. Her mother, then her father, then losing her first love through misunderstanding, all before she's really even an adult. Her healing journey is shown as incredibly slow, painful. You see it reflected in her emotional distance, in that carefully constructed emptiness of her now life at the beginning. The novel is really honest about grief not being linear. It's this haunting presence that shapes you.
And then there's the massive theme of miscommunication, and maybe tied to that, the fallibility of memory, right? How we perceive things. One single misunderstood moment, filtered through trauma, leads to 11 years of separation and pain. It's such a powerful statement about how silence can feel like betrayal, and how assumptions, if you don't challenge them, can just destroy even the strongest connections.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is how that ties into the idea of love as language in this book. Their whole bond is built on literature, on vocabulary, the words. That shared love of words really underscores their connection, which makes the lack of words later, the silence after the misunderstanding, even more devastating. It really highlights that communication isn't just about talking, it's about actually being heard, being understood.
And the characters themselves evolve so much. It's not just a typical coming-of-age thing. It feels like a profound journey for both of them. They go from being these grief-stricken teenagers, kind of trapped by silence and trauma, to adults who can finally face fear, face grief head-on, and find their way back to love. It is the ultimate second-chance romance, sure, but it feels earned. So emotionally authentic. They really do feel like soulmates torn apart by this complex web of tragedy and misperception, not just, a simple breakup.
And the critics, they largely praise Christina Lauren for that, for the deeply emotional storytelling, the vivid prose, that then-now structure we talked about, widely seen as enhancing the momentum and the emotional weight, pulling you back and forth so skillfully. Reviews often highlight Macy's voice, how powerful and painful it is, and Elliot's sincerity, and just the depth of their connection. However, there was some criticism, primarily around the pacing of the resolution at the end.
Ah, okay. How so?
Well, given how monumental the trauma was, the misunderstanding, the deaths, some readers felt that the final reconciliation maybe happened a little too quickly, or perhaps wasn't given quite enough detailed exploration after everything they'd been through.
That's interesting. Do you think that critique comes from readers wanting maybe a longer period of catharsis after investing so much in their decade of pain? Or maybe wanting a different kind of ending altogether?
I think it probably speaks to the huge emotional investment readers make in Macy's suffering and their separation. After a decade of that deep pain and silence, yeah, some might have wanted to linger a bit longer in the healing process itself. Or maybe see the immediate aftermath of the truth coming out feel a bit more drawn out,
Yeah,
perhaps.
I can see that.
But despite that point, the overwhelming feeling is that the novel is truly beloved. It's undeniably emotional, it's a tearjerker for sure, and it resonates deeply. Especially if you love those friends to lovers or second chance tropes, Macy and Elliot's story really stays with you.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really traced Macy and Elliot's powerful journey, from that initial bond built on words, through the absolute devastation of misunderstanding and loss, all the way to their reunion and healing. Their story comes full circle in such a satisfying way, showing this incredible emotional arc that I think speaks to a lot of us.
Absolutely. And if we try to connect this back to, the bigger picture for you, the listener, love, in other words, really serves as this poignant reminder, doesn't it, about how fragile communication can be, about the weight of things left unsaid, truths unshared, and the massive impact just one moment of misperception can have on years, even decades of a relationship. It really makes you pause and wonder, given how absolutely critical communication and perception were in Macy and Elliot's story. How do we make sure we truly understand and feel understood by the people we care about most, especially when silence sometimes can feel like the deepest betrayal of all?